welcome to the show, everyone. I've got a special guest today, Brad Reeser. How you doing, Brad?
Doing well, Cody. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Well, Brad, so how'd you get into the business?
I was in a home improvement business while I was going to school, and was we were fairly successful with it. And I tried to go after a couple of government contracts and got knocked out, so I was a little depressed about that. Best thing that ever happened to me, as things happen in life, right? I'd probably still be doing that, and I don't know where that would leave me. But my mother suggested I get in the real estate business. My dad had been in it for about 4 or 5 years, and had done really well. So sold the business, made the transition.
Well, fortunate for you, because you've obviously been extremely successful at it. So how many combined years did you say you've been in the business total?
It'll be 39 in October.
Wow. That's quite an adventure. So how many agents do you lead, Brad?
Well, I just have my team. So even our admin people are licensed. But we have really 2 people that sell. Tracy Ratcliffe, who's been with me for probably 22 years, excellent realtor. And then my son also does some selling, as well as we brought another lady on that will probably do some showing and selling. So really probably, maybe 2 total.
Awesome.
Rest of the folks that I have here on my team are admin.
Well, I was hoping maybe you kind of take us through the revolution. I'm sure kind of like most agents, we kind of come in individually. How did you transition from just kind of operating, your own business to kind of leading the successful team that you do today?
Well, it's one of those things that happens. First thing that happens, and probably one of the best things that happened to me was, and I'll do this advertisement, but I joined Keller Williams, and I was with Remax, and that's how I started. So 100% go out, 100% commission, pay office bill, learn how to sell real estate, and was fairly successful there. And as I grew, I knew I needed help doing things I didn't like to do. And entering and data into the MLS, just generally keeping up with the paperwork. It wasn't anything that I wanted to do, so hired an assistant. And then it kind of grew from there as the business grew, right? So you get these lucky opportunities where you're able to change your world and change your business, and I got those. And as we had that happen, then we added people. Probably the best hire I've ever made in my life was Tracy Ratcliffe. And she changed my world. And she was working at one time for Norma Coppage, had left there and went to work for a title company. And I will tell everybody out there, when you're trying to hire an assistant, that it's no different than anything else. We were in a fairly long negotiation. I had an idea of what I wanted to pay her, and that wasn't what she wanted to get paid. And I will tell you, she's worth her weight in gold. I paid her what she wanted, and she absolutely changed my business. We doubled, and that's huge. But I was at Gary Keller's, one of his mega camps back when they weren't so mega. This would have been back in the, it had been the mid 90s. And there was probably, 60 mega agents, there. But the one thing he talked about was hiring talent. And you're going to have to pay for talent. And the fact of the matter was, I left. I didn't really get anything else out of those meetings, but I got that. And I came back and hired Tracy, and that was really a big change. And we're still together today, and that's been a blessing, I think, for both of us now. So
awesome! Sounds like a great transition.
But to answer your question, that transition grew over the last. That transition has grown over the last 25 years. You add as you need, And we're very fortunate that we have a very good retention. Um, Hired some new folks now because this world's different and we need more help. But I am still an active salesperson in the business all day long. But got great admin, and so leading it is kind of interesting. I don't do a very good job of leading, really. I have someone that kind of leads for us, and then I go in and we make tweaks. So, but I am not a monster team like you see these other guys. I'm not sure I want to be around that many realtors. Not that I don't like you guys out there in broadcast land, but they're I've got enough high maintenance customers.
I understand. You mentioned kind of it's a different world we're kind of living in today. And you said kind of maybe your staff and stuff's changing around that. Are there any certain key hires, or can you speak to that a little bit more in terms of what you're doing?
Well, you know, when you're hiring today, one of the hard things to do when we went to look for someone is someone that likes the drudgery of paperwork. Everybody, when a realtor's going to hire somebody, everybody wants to sell. That's all they want to do. I want to come in and sell. They, you know, they've either experienced a real estate transaction when they purchased one and thought, gee, that guy made a lot of money for not doing anything. I want to do that. But you know, it's always today, it's really hard to find somebody that wants to do a lot of the admin stuff that absolutely has to be done and has to be in order. And so, you know, that's what we're changing to right now, because it's and getting more admin. And we were able to hire somebody that absolutely told me during the meeting that she loved paperwork. And my eyes kind of teared up a little bit, and I hired her immediately, and it's been a great hire. So you're always doing that. You're always going to have those management issues, or, you know, people get tired of doing the same thing. So you need to be able to have other spaces for them to go, or pay them better for what they're doing to have retention.
No, that's definitely great advice. For you personally, Brad, when you kind of, you know, moving into these, you know, different roles in the company and within your team as it's growing, maybe you can kind of share with our viewers some of the early struggles you had that you weren't really equipped for, and maybe were some of the areas that you went to get equipped, and maybe some of the early wins that were kind of parallel to some of the job and work experience you had previously when you came into real estate that were easy wins for you.
Well, look, I can probably look at, it's interesting, but Ann Campbell was a realtor here for a long time. Everybody knew she was a realtor when you walked into a room, right? And I am kind of that way. I will strike up a conversation, but some of the big wins, the wins that changed my world, where I was at a cafeteria, struck up a conversation with a very tall man that was next to me, and found out that he was the lawyer for Kingfisher Federal Savings and Loan. At that time, all of the savings and loans were going back to the RTC, but I was able to go over there through meeting him, and that really changed my entire business model, because I had 50 to 75, probably sold $110 million worth of properties for those guys over a 3-year period. So it was kind of an interesting, I'm at Wyatt's Cafe trying to eat healthy, and turned out that he was he was a very big part of us changing our business around. And that enabled me to then, of course, these are old days, right? So you guys would do it different today. You'd be on Facebook or whatever, but I was buying then that enabled me to buy full page ads in the Oklahoman, their Saturday real estate magazine, which then I think made me one of the experts in Oklahoma City just because of the exposure. And we did that for probably 3 or 4 years. But those were things that were key to taking me from $25-30 million a year to 40 to 50 in some times. And we were doing just a ton of transactions. Today, we still do a lot of business. We're real strong on social internet, that's been the other key that we find, that we have to really be strong there. And I'm really, that is really all because of my son and what he's able to do with that. So all of those things have been big changes for us, but have kept us really relevant in the industry. The other thing is, look, you learn at an early age that you will have these customers and their children and their children as clients if you stay in touch with your sphere. It's real basic things, but it's things that builds a rock solid business to where, I lead generate every day. I do it differently than most people. Just in conversation and talking and just what happens. But as far as strategic lead generation, like most people do today, other than what we do on Facebook and on the social internet side, we don't do a lot, but we have a lot of business. We've built a big business. Pretty proud of that, but that's because of a lot of people's effort here. But it's if you were going to ask me one thing, I'd say stay in touch with your sphere, because they're going to get you business. They know how you work.
That's great. Great advice. Brad, how would you describe kind of your leadership style or philosophy when it comes to, running and leading your business?
For the most part, it's, and then leadership in a small group like we have is not terribly difficult. We've got good employees. I stay out of everybody's way unless they need assistance. I was real fortunate when I grew up. When you talked to me about business earlier, I had probably one of the best mentors in the real estate business. That was my father. We were competitors, but if I had a problem, I could walk over there. He'd probably been through them, and we all ended up being that way. I learned something every day in this business, and we do. But I think for the most part, unless we have issues, everything rolls. Everything's pretty well set, and everybody knows what their duty is, and they all get along. So frankly, I don't have a lot of management style to do. I probably interrupt things more than I help them around here, because I walk in like I own the place and say, hey, I need this now. And so that's probably interrupts a streamline of work, but our businesses always interrupt. So
great. Maybe can you speak to a little bit of your opinion on kind of leading a successful team versus, running and managing a brokerage, and kind of why you kind of chose to go the route that you've gone?
And well, one is, look, I love realtors. I just don't want to manage them. And I really feel like that ends up being like trying to herd cats in a lot of ways. And because they're all independent contractors, they're all going to have independent feelings, and you have to deal with that. The way we work here, I know I've got good people, so my management style and why I did that was I did not want that extra burden. I still sell real estate, and I still sell real estate at a high level. And so it's just not anything that I could see that brokerage was going to be a benefit to me. Now, a lot of people would rather manage and help people and do those things. But to me, there wasn't a return there for me, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't. You've certainly found a way.
I make a great living, and it's and I got a lot of people that depend on that living, and so I'm pretty well settled in. That doesn't mean in the next half century of my life that I won't possibly entertain the idea of going and having a brokerage. I think all realtors think about that at some point in time. Someday I'm going to be tired of dealing with the public, but the thing about it is you still get to deal with the public and the realtors. So I'm not sure.
That's very true.
I'd be that helpful, right? I mean, it's like just pick how much headache you want.
I understand. Well, Brett, you've obviously had a ton of success at this. So what do you think it takes to be a successful team leader to run such a high producing team that you do?
Well, I think consistency and for me, we have beliefs here, and that those beliefs are to take care of the customer. That the customer is always right. Sometimes they're not right, but we'll deal with that in a different way. I deal with those issues. But I think to be successful, you need to have their backs. One, have to have their backs. They need to know that they can count on you and depend on you, and you're in their corner. If it's, God forbid, we have a mistake, well, then I go take the lumps for that because I'm responsible for it. But that is how I think you can have a team that respects you, that will work for you, that care. And it's really hard to find people that care. A lot of people come into work, and it's just different. But we've got that. I don't know that dynamic continues as you expand. Possibly can, but I think it's having their backs, paying them well, and respecting them.
I definitely agree with all of that. That care factor is extremely important. So what are your, would you say, are kind of your least favorite aspects of, the job description you wish you could just kind of write off? And what are some of, your more favorable aspects of the territory?
Well, not being successful, having a transaction go sideways, and not be able to keep it together is certainly probably the hardest. Just because you've got a lot of other lives that now get to reschedule and do things. So I think that's always and will always be my least favorite thing that happens. Normally we have things that go sideways, but we're able to work through a solution to get them done. When they can't be done, then it becomes tough, and you're either, time to dust off and get back in there. But the emotional drain that puts on our clients is, they're not used to this. So, that's probably my least favorite. I think my most favorite is just being able to be successful today. It's being successful getting it, winning in a contract in these multiple offer situations. It's probably my favorite thing now. I'm sitting here waiting on one right now that we've bid quite a bit of money over, and I don't know if we're going to get it or not. So it's just, it's cash, stay there a month. We don't care, but just this anxiety and I would say my least favorite part's having to be a damn counselor to everybody that can't get a house right now.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating for them. So we end up being the shrink, and you have to kind of cheer them up, and you get, it becomes a little bit arduous to listen to them cry all the time about where we're going to live. But I don't know. Listen, I love this business. I think that's why I'm successful at it, because I do love it. I love the challenges with it. So there's not a lot I don't like. The balance of it, I like probably 90% of what I do. And I'm looking for that 100% job, but I can't seem to find it.
Gotcha. I understand. So you spoke a little bit about this earlier, but so maybe you kind of go a little bit more detail about your support system, kind of how you scaled it up, what it looks like today. Maybe there's probably some really key individuals.
Right. So today I am with, I have 3.5 admin, because I have one that's working to transition into selling. So I have 3.5 admin that do all of our admin work, and that would be, they take this from front to back. So under contract, make sure earnest money's been delivered to where we're supposed to be delivered by the buyer's agent, right, or the selling agent but they take it through every aspect of it, enter them into, we're still using Top Producer. Not everybody is, but we're still using Top Producer to make sure that we're going to get them on our touch system. So every bit and every aspect of what we do to continue to, one, have touch with our sphere, to making sure we're up to date. We've got giant boards up that show when TRRs are due. All of that, those admin take care of. And I very seldom have to go in and talk to anybody about anything. Occasionally I'll get a TRR that one of my people cannot work out, and then I'll deal with it. So these guys really leave me free to be able to sell anything. But that is, so my skill today is I have got 3.5 admin. I've got 2.5 salespeople. I've got a half on, Chase spends half of his time on social internet tools. So that's the lead generating aspect of it. And that can be anything from, we may do direct mails if we have somebody interested in an area, to see if we can get any response that way. Right. So it, but that has grown as the business has grown. Now, the problem is, when I started contracts with one page, not too difficult to really deal with a real estate transaction back there. Now, was it good for the buyer? Probably not. Probably good for the seller, but it really wasn't good for the buyer. Today, with what we deal with the data we deal with all the paperwork that we deal with, yeah, I need 3.5 admin. If you walked in and talked to them right now because they're buried, they'd say we need 6. But that's that's just the nature of it. So we've grown as the business has grown, and you get forced to grow as you continue to have this wash of paperwork. But the last thing you need to do is leave somebody work with too much paperwork too long, or all of a sudden I get to do it, and I will hire away from me ever having to mess with it. So
yeah, I think a lot of that goes back to your
I am
really
far more
hiring talent as well. I think
right.
It's a big difference in terms of how many admin you need to be able to successfully serve the customer as well as you guys
No
do.
question. Look, and it's real easy to make a bad hire. It is. It's really easy to make a bad hire. I've made probably 3, which isn't too bad for what we've had. But I've made great hires, and right now I'm patting myself on the back because I think I've got just a great staff. So.
Well, your
business, it's important to be good to them.
You guys do that very well. Well, Brad, let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions that you could maybe dispel for our viewers today of what it takes to lead or to run a successful real estate team?
I don't know if there's any misconceptions. It's like anything else that we do in life, right? I am sure there's guys out there and ladies with great ideas about how I'm going to have a successful business. It always still, this is a toe-to-toe business, period. It probably always will be. This business is a relationship business, and if you're not building those, and you're not long. You're too many one and dones. This is all about capturing a sphere and staying in touch with that sphere, and that's what will continue to grow your business. And doing the right thing, right? Always doing the right thing. I can't tell you how many air conditioners I've probably bought over the years after closing, because 3 days after closing it went out. Sorry, worked when you moved in. There's just things that probably happen that you have to really, really consider the long-term effects of saying, no, that's not my responsibility. And I think when you deal with things in that manner and you handle them well, that is one way that you build such a retention with clients that you'll get paid back tenfold. I often have other agents in this office who will come in and say, well, this wasn't my fault. So, well, maybe it wasn't. But maybe it was. Can you think of a solution that would make everybody happy and make these people not hate you? Right. So is there a solution somewhere in here? I understand it's not your fault. Normally it's not. But you were the one that helped them with you facilitated the transaction. My seller took all the curtains, right? They moved away. How do we handle all of that? There's just things that happen in this business that are real important, that you keep the utmost integrity in what you do. And I'm not saying giving away your money, but there is just happy customers will bring you a whole lot more business than anybody else will. So we work really hard to make that happen.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Always do the right thing. That makes a lot of sense. Brad, what is your favorite piece of technology or tool that you would just shut down your business tomorrow if you were left without it?
My phone.
So great answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my phone.
Definitely a good one.
It can all happen right there. So it's the phone. You know, when I started, we had pagers and 15 cents, a lot of nickels and dimes, because I'd have to stop at a payphone. Then I got a car phone, and that car phone ran me $1,800 to $2,200 a month. Back when they were first out, I think I had a car phone in 1980, mid 83. And then I was able to get one that I could unhook from the car and take with me. Now, it wasn't a bag phone, it was a flip phone. But when you look at what's happened since I've been in this business, it's just been unbelievable. And the change today is probably a lot of realtors feel threatened by it. You know, you've got everybody in the world, they're on TV, Home Light, some other guy that'll do, you know, we'll get you a top agent for X money or less. Again, that's why relationships are so important in this business. If you're going to be doing one and dones, then you are sure a victim to whatever the cheapest price is out there for you. That's why relationships are so important. And
great way of putting
right.
it in perspective.
Look, right. I mean, that's why it's so important that you work on your sphere. And have those. I mean, our customers know that, hey, we'll get it done. We're going to tell them the truth. We'll do our utmost best to get them the max money out of the property, or that will help them buy a house, and we'll keep them out of peril. But those are things when we look moving forward. I think there's going to be a lot of things and a lot of changes in this business because a lot of big forces are coming into this market. They see a lot of potential for revenue. A lot of them are going to do it by volume, and you're either going to be an advocate for your clients and be able, and they know that, and they are more than happy to pay you to help them. So I really see, you know, the market, that's going to be one of the threats in the market, will continue to be, and that's going to be just more and more prevalent. But most people don't have a realtor.
Yeah.
Most people, when they decide to sell a house, then they look around. They don't have a realtor because their realtor, whoever sold them the house, took the money and went away. And so then they're up to trying to decide who and what. And oftentimes, what they want to do is say, hey, if you'll do it for this, we'll hire you. And if you're doing one and dones all the time, that's what you're going to end up doing. You're going to work for what they want you to work for, not what you should get or what you, you know, what would be market for the amount of service that you offer them. So
that's like a professor level of breaking this down for anybody that's in the business doing this or thinking about getting into the business in terms of their strategy. Just a ton of wisdom that you're dropping here. So I want to bring this up because you do have so much wisdom. Have you seen a market like we're in right now, Brad?
No, I haven't. I was, I told somebody the other day, I think I bought my first house when I was 19. And I bought it just north of Carmax, this little neighborhood called Gateway, just very south border of Edmond. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car. And I paid $19,750 for it. I had a mature loan officer, Paige Shoemake. I'm giving her a shout out there. She wasn't mature at the time. She was probably just a little older than she was probably younger than me. She was probably one of the first people to get a mortgage broker's license at 15. But she did the loan for me. I buy the house. The next year I sold that house for $41,000. So yeah, I have seen it. I haven't seen it in my career in real estate, however. When I got into real estate in 1982, the first deal I did was a VA loan, 20.5% interest.
Wow.
So for all you guys that are getting in this market now thinking, how in the world do we run through this propeller? Everybody's had some type of struggle when they started in their career. We still make good money. We had high interest rates for a long time. Look, this market is crazy, but it's probably been a long time overdue. When you look at the quality properties that we have in this, and I'm going to say Oklahoma County, I don't know about Tulsa. I think they just throw them together over there. But in Oklahoma County, I would say, and that's shout out to my friends in Tulsa. Hi, guys. I think when you look at it, we've had a 3 or a 4% appreciation in property. We've had a style change that has really been a little devastating to a lot of people in the market. They bought those old world houses, and all of a sudden nobody wanted them. They dropped them. They dropped them like hotcakes, and they all need to be redone. And it's expensive when you start getting into the properties. We have to go ahead and dump $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 into your house to have it updated so you can sell it. So we've had some of these problems. Right now, we really don't have such a style problem. That's probably pretty well set in, and as in, everybody's pretty aware about it. We've gone through that transition. But today, what we're looking at is millennials coming into the marketplace at an unprecedented level. Also, the generation that had the least amount of home ownership of any generation prior to them. So all of a sudden they're in the market. Why are they in the market? Probably because of the low interest rates. We are now in a marketplace where we've got a migration from the northwest part of the United States, primarily, that people are moving in to get away from what they feel like is oppressive governments, city governments or state. And so we've got this transition of these folks that are coming in that can work from anywhere. And that was one of the blessings of COVID. But I can work from Oklahoma with my laptop, still get paid, don't have to live there, sell my house, make a lot of money, go down, not spend as much money. So we've had kind of these two things collide, plus the normal move rate that we have and normal move in that we have. We just don't have a supply. And so I have not seen it. But I don't see it ending because I see other aspects of the market that are completely shut out from purchasing today. So I really think what you're going to see in this marketplace is we're going to maybe reach a plateau where that's going to be the new prices for houses. So all of these folks that have worried over the last 6 months about appraisals, not making appraisals, you want to buy this house, you're sending us an appraisal waiver, yada, yada, yada. I think we're going to see probably by October that we're going to have great comps. And that's going to be the new set. We may still end up with some shortage in housing. I think we are because FHA and VA buyers can't buy. Buyers that have the down payment but need closing costs paid, they're not buying any houses in this market today. So you've got an entire sector that has absolutely been closed out. So I don't see this ending for a couple of years, and I don't think the interest rates are going to go up enough to make a difference. We're going to see some increases in interest rates, but I think that is more for just pipeline issues.
Okay. So having said that,
I'm pretty bullish. I'm pretty bullish on this market. Yeah.
Okay. So having said that, Brad, what piece of advice would you give somebody that's in the business right now, just trying to get some wins, and maybe somebody that's thinking about coming into the business, given this market prediction?
Well, I think currently today, if you want to get a house bought, you need to have everything prepared for your purchaser, and that would be loan letter, proof of funds if you're going to do a appraisal waiver, that you can make up the difference between the list price and whatever you've offered them. I think you're going to have to look at having the seller probably stay after closing. Those are things that we've been using and been successful. Now, I would appreciate it if you guys didn't do that against me. But that's what we're looking at today to be able to make this, to make this work. When you're on the flip side with sellers, look, this market's not going to lie to you. This is probably one of the only markets I've been around where you can misprice the house too low. Market's going to tell you what it's worth, because they're going to come in and, I sold one for 3% over yesterday, sold one for 10% over yesterday. Now, those were listings that I had. So, I think you need to be real careful about pricing it too high, because the market will darn sure take you to max market if the house is something people want. So I think the listing side becomes a little easier today. Sellers catch up pretty quick, and they always want about 10% more, or at least they'd like 2022 prices today. But right now, I think they're getting November prices today, is what they're probably getting for the houses. Right, I mean, we do ours when we offer our properties. We offer them, we launch them on Friday. We want offers in by Monday at 5. We just let them go at it. I ask my sellers to leave, go to the lake. I don't care where you go, but just let us have full reign of the house for 4 days. And that has seemed to work very successfully. And I was having them do it on Sunday, but I found I didn't have any help here to be able to go through all the stuff. So then we moved it to Monday.
Well, there you go. Great
advice.
But
that's, you just put it on in the market price and let them go.
Great advice from a top professional in this industry. Brad, before we let you go here, I'm curious to know what you would be doing if you weren't selling real estate, man.
I'd like to be a stand-up comic. I'm not sure that's in my future, but that's when I thought about retiring at one time, my goal was always day drinking. That when I quit real estate, I day drink, but that went away with a little health issue about 5 years ago. So I guess I'll just work till I drop.
There you go. Well, Brad, hey, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all your advice and wisdom, and for just serving our market as a leader in the way that you do. And appreciate you coming on.
For all you brokers and realtors out there, don't forget to make an investment in our pack.
There you go. Brad, where can folks find you if they want to connect with you with RPAC and any other projects you got going on?
They can get me at Brad Reeser Team at yahoo.com, or call me at 405-990-8262. I still answer the phone, so give me a call.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. You have a great day.
Thanks, Cody.